So there's shock and there's disbelief, which usually is pretty early, I would say. But that doesn't mean you don't revisit that, right? And you might be saying things like, this doesn't feel real, or you try to fix it quickly. That's what I did. I know immediately when I was on the phone with you, I was like, this is what we're doing. We're doing this, we're doing this, and we're doing this. And that's typical of me. I'm a fix-it guy. And those may be legitimate ways to basically solve exactly the problem that we're having, not thinking that there could be other ways to solve it. There's anger and frustration, have dipped my toe into that a little bit. This isn't fair, saying things like that. That's absolutely true. There's doubt, insecurity. You can imagine, I can only imagine that has crept into you. Your confidence is kicked. Your insecurity rises up because you gave your all, and now the response is not good enough, and I don't trust you. Hey, friends, welcome back to the podcast. For those of you that have joined us before, hey, thanks for coming back. For those, if this is your first time, I'm Michael, that's Heather. We are Imperfectly Married, been married for 27, right?
Yeah,
okay, 27 years now. And we just do this little thing to encourage you. And so thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so that's a combination of a couple things. But anyway, this is an episode that kind of comes as a surprise. This wasn't planned.
We were not planning on doing this episode.
Yeah, we were not planning on this episode, but
actually ever. I never wanted to do this episode.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's ignorance or it's confidence, but there was a level of we would never have to. There was that, and I don't want to say that it's privilege. It was just, we just felt confident in everything that we were doing. We feel that we are good, all the things. So this is going to be kind of a vulnerable and real episode, but at the same time, the reason why we wanted to make it an episode is because it is a real thing that happens in marriages, in relationships, across the country, across everybody, not everybody, but many people do have this particular traumatic moment happen in their marriage.
And it doesn't have to be like this exact situation. It could be, something entirely different. But when something abruptly changes in your life, these are just kind of the things that come up. And so I'll share what happened.
Yeah, sure.
If I can.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the things because I love what we're titling this episode, and it's when the rug's pulled out, when you don't expect it, and we 1,000,000,000% we're not expecting this whatsoever. And so, yeah, honey.
Yeah. So
that's not a good start.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
Monday, I was at work and everything was just going normal, and then I got an impromptu call, which also isn't out of the ordinary.
Not uncommon.
And so I joined the call, and they abruptly fired me. And it was a shock. It came as a total surprise. I gave my blood, sweat, and tears to the firm that I was working at, and I loved my job. I loved the people, and I think I'm grieving the people the most.
Probably.
Because
I would say you were good at your job. You loved the people.
Yeah, I've always loved. I just happen to be really good at what I do, and my mind, my personality, like, lends towards relationship.
Yeah.
And I have found just that it's like I connect really well with people through their finances, with relationship. And so, so
this particular environment was heavy relationship, which was great.
Yeah.
It really lended to your skill, your strengths. And so it was a really great fit, which made this.
The hard part was that I fought for this job. I was like, I love the culture. I love the people. I was working for them as a contractor, and then I moved on full time for them. And I thought it was a beautiful synergy. I felt like it's like I was on their culture committee team. Like I felt as though it's like that these are the types of things that I just don't understand, is when it's like, when you feel so loved, then it's like all you do from that moment that they let you go is you question the authenticity
of everything else,
of everything,
everything that happened. So that's what makes situations like this especially difficult, is because losing a job is not just a logistical thing. It's not just a financial thing, though those things are true. It really comes down to emotional. It's an emotional connection, and it's deeply, deeply personal.
It rocked my identity because I've always been really confident in who I was, and they were questioning who I was.
Yeah.
And
that's how it was communicated.
That's how it was communicated.
That's how it was communicated. Right. The important part is it happened.
Right.
All of the other details of that aren't necessary.
Are irrelevant.
But how that is now our reality. That's your reality. And so now we're not even 5 days away from that happening. And we wanted to do this episode because this happens. This is a real thing in people's lives, that this happens. But we want to call out the fact that it's normal to have a really deep hurt, that it wasn't just a job that you had. I guess it depends on how you viewed your job and how you appreciated your job. All of those details probably impact that. But there is a dynamic that it goes really, really deep, especially for you, where not all of your identity was in your job, but some of it was. And there was a connection on how you're valued, how you're appreciated, in some sense, probably how you're loved. And it's important to call out, I think, that this wasn't just a job loss. This was a real hit to who you are. And then we now have to deal with walking that out.
Yeah, I would say that, like, the shift that happened afterwards was that it's like I started questioning, like, who I am and am I still valuable? Am I still okay? And I hadn't been confronted with those things in a really long time. I think throughout our lives, we always deal with, like, on a, some sliding scale of, like, questioning your identity, questioning your worth, questioning your value. But it's like in this particular situation, it's like I felt very confident in the work that I did and providing, like,
real value.
Like, I thought that I did.
Yeah. You did. Well, you don't have to think. You did, 100%.
Yeah, and there's going to be things that it's like I say throughout this episode that it's like I'm still trying to, like, work out because it was just such a hit. And that's why we're wanting to do this episode, is because the truth of the matter is that when things happen abruptly or suddenly, it's a gut check.
Yeah.
And we can either grow closer to one another, or if we're both too locked into stress and anxiety, we can also kind of slide away from each other.
Absolutely.
So this is really an opportunity for us just to, like, grab hold of each other and press into things. Like, I know, like, when I'm really dealing with, like, a lot of like shame and self-doubt and confidence. Actually, I don't even know that it's like I really deal with shame, because I know I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely
like,
not.
That's the one thing that I'm 100,000% confident in.
And that's the confusion of the whole thing, which you can't do anything about. It is what it is.
And so in that, it's so difficult to walk out the truth versus the lie. And you've been really good at that. Like when I like have my breakdowns, it's like you're so good at coming in and just speaking truth to the lie that it's like I'm battling and trying to overcome.
Would you say that there's kind of a rhythm to doing that? Because I know for the spouse, and we'll get into this, but for the spouse, you bring that up. I want to insert truth, but there is a value of saying the things that you're feeling in freedom and not being confronted with what you're saying isn't true. Because even yesterday, I think you said something, and I like I normally do, I came in with the truth, but what you were saying is, I realize that, but this is how I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. And that got me thinking, like, I'm being better at not fixing. And so I'm trying to find a way to not allow the vain imaginations, not allow this rabbit hole of negativity, but yet you must be able to have the freedom and safety to be able to get out what you're feeling. So where do you think that is? Is there a time for it? Is there, how would you say for the spouse of the person that's happened to, you're wanting to bring like a truth, but when do you bring it, do you think?
I think it's more my responsibility to tell you what I need in this moment. So,
geez, how hard is that? I mean, just now you have an extra step after being terminated.
But it is my responsibility to tell you what I need in that moment, because otherwise you're not going to know how to meet me.
That's true.
And so it's like, because there's times where it's like, I need to hear truth. And that's usually when I don't say anything, because that's because
you know it's coming.
That's usually your go-to. Yeah. But it's like if I am just needing to just spew out and just like we always say, like, I just need to vomit on you.
Yeah, here we go.
And it's like,
get ready.
It's like
projectile coming.
Yeah, I just need to like get out all the lies, because I would have to say that it's like in these particular moments, we need to not get stuck in believing something either about ourselves or about the situation or about the people that were involved.
Absolutely.
That is not true.
Yep.
I still deeply love the people that I worked for.
Yeah.
Like I do.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard, is because I grieve the fact that it's like I won't be a part of their culture. I won't be able to like say hi. Like two of them are having babies. Like I won't be able to see their babies. Like that's hard for me because I'm such a relational person.
And I think that's what makes this hard. There are situations where, and even though you're my wife, we've said this, I'd be the first to tell you, it's like, well, what did you expect to happen when you do this, this, and this?
Right. And I would have done the same thing. Yeah. I would have been like, oh my gosh, like 100%, like I get it. Like,
because we've all met people where they got terminated and they feel unjustifiably, but then you've seen either their work product or their attitude or something like that, and you kind of keep it to yourself, but you're like, I mean, that's no surprise. Now, you're my wife. I've told you that. And yes, I'm biased, but there is a this isn't supposed to be about us, but I just want to, this is also a dynamic that makes it hard when you're truly, in our opinion, wronged, but there's nothing you can do about it. Literally nothing you can do about it. And now you don't have connection with those people that you truly, deeply cared for. That wasn't fake. This wasn't
trusted.
And trusted. And so that makes this whole thing hard, which kind of throws you, would you say that something like this then throws you into like maybe stages of grief? Would you say that you're experiencing? Okay, let me ask you this. What was your first response to it happening?
I saw the look on their faces and there was no convincing them otherwise. And so it was like, I was confused. I was hurt. I questioned everything. I've gotten mad a few times, like when you're talking about the stages of grief. I've beat myself up a lot. I've replayed things over and over in my head. Like there's so many things that it's like I'm like, well, what about that conversation? Like I was never hiding anything. Like, you know, it's like I'm always trying to like be like, well, you guys.
Well, this
like,
and this. It's
yeah.
like, it's all those things that when you're done with the conversation, there's so many things you would have loved to have said or brought to light or had evidence of or something like that.
The hard part is that it's like they weren't coming in to like
this wasn't an inquiry. No, this was a decision. So then you would say then that there is a connection here because grief is just loss, right? And so there was this loss. You first have probably shock. It's shocking. It's like literally you're numb. I remember feeling that myself. Like this doesn't happen. Like what we try, like, you know, we try hard. Like we integrous, we have character. Like what, how in the world can something like this happen and be in such a shocked state with no room to wiggle? There was no wiggle room. It was, this is what's happening. And you think of these stages of grief, which I think I've seen in you. I know I've had some myself happen Monday. It's now Saturday. And the stages of grief and something like this, when there is a loss, there isn't a pattern to it. You just experience them. Many people just experience them all, but then they also go back to them. Mm-hmm. I know yesterday or even today, I know we had a moment of feeling really good, but then we saw a mug. We saw a mug and it took us back to, well, how does this happen? Like what, all the things. And so how do you think that you are progressing through the stages? Are you trying to progress through stages? Should you progress through stages? Should you just let it go, let it naturally happen?
I mean, I'm really just trying to be present in every moment because I don't want this to consume me. Yeah. I want to be hopeful of the future, but one real aspect of our marriage is how it's affecting us financially. Mm-hmm. And I feel very responsible for that. And it's like, that's what we've talked about. I feel like there's been, there's a gap in our home and in our finances that I created. And it's like, I can't help but feel that level of responsibility in that. And so the future is scary, but it's like, I know you hate it when I say this. I'm like, the worst case scenario is that we lose our house.
Yeah, like, cool. Yeah, I hate that because, but that's the way you feel, mm-hmm. though that's not the truth. That's how you feel, which mm-hmm. is not valid, but it's valid to you. That is how you feel. That there, I like how you said that there's a portion that is yours and it's now gone. Like this was your portion to bring to the table and it's now gone. And how do you think people should deal with feeling what you're feeling? How would you what kind of advice would you give to someone who came to you and says, I feel responsible for losing it, when let's just say, for true, that wasn't you. This was the circumstances were just like, if you know what they were, how would you advise them?
Well, I think one of the smartest things that we did is that we were really like, we're not doing anything immediately. So it was like immediately.
Phrase. What's the phrase that you use?
I said, I'm not cutting bangs and I'm not
I love that.
And I'm not making any like big decisions for a week.
Yeah.
And literally like that's what we did.
That was huge. Yeah.
as much as it was so hard for me not to like immediately reach out to all of like my contacts and try to like drum up something, it's like I was like, no, put the scissors down, don't cut the bangs, and really be thoughtful in this time. Like I didn't want to panic because I felt that panic rise up in me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's been scary.
Same.
It's been scary.
Same.
And
we've had situations, we've had enough loss in our life to where we've walked this path before and have done it very differently, where we have got ourselves down a path because we reacted quickly to cover to cover what we thought was a gap, then to find out years later that if we just would have waited a moment, maybe the path would have been different. And I love that wisdom that you did. Even in the midst of just total and complete loss, you said, we're going to wait. I'm not cutting my bangs. And we're going to, because even the solution, let's say even the solution that you came up with an hour and a half after it happening may be the right one, but giving it some time to settle and then coming back with less emotion and more thoughtfulness is something that's important. And I just want to go back. I just want to go back real quick to kind of the grief stages, because I want to make sure that these stages are noted, because if anybody's going through this, I want to validate the feelings that they're having. Like it's natural, like you, and it's not in any particular order. These are stages. Yeah. So there's shock and there's disbelief, which usually is pretty early, I would say. But that doesn't mean you don't revisit that, right? And you might be saying things like, this doesn't feel real, or you try to fix it quickly. That's what I did. I know immediately when I was on the phone with you, I was like, this is what we're doing. We're doing this, we're doing this, and we're doing this. And that's typical of me. I'm a fix-it guy. And those may be legitimate ways to basically solve exactly the problem that we're having, not thinking that there could be other ways to solve it. There's anger and frustration, have dipped my toe into that a little bit. This isn't fair, saying things like that. That's absolutely true. There's doubt, insecurity. You can imagine, I can only imagine that has crept into you. Your confidence is kicked. Your insecurity rises up because you gave your all, and now the response is not good enough, and I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, it's not about us. Next, there's sadness, there's withdrawal. There could be, you could get to the place, or you will get to the place, hopefully get to the place of acceptance and then a reframing, which you're a classic. No, I'm not going to say classic. You are a great reframer. And we're going to go in and out of those. I think we've done 3 just today, and really deep into them too. But then where do you go from there? You're going to experience these things, and I want anybody listening to I want to release you from the burden of thinking that you need to respond in a very particular way. I think one of the things that's most important, in my sister, who has experienced enormous grief in her life, is one of the best grievers I know, and she's one that testifies to every feeling is valid and you feel it all. The importance is feeling it all. Don't feel bad about the way you feel. Don't should yourself, right? That's well, I should be doing this and I should be doing this. No, you shouldn't be doing anything. What you need to be doing is exactly what you're doing, is feeling it all. And where do you think you go from there? How do you process? What's next, do you think?
Well, first, I just want to say that it's like everyone processes a job loss or any type of thing differently. You know,
very much so.
Like for me, like it's more that I'm so hurt and so sad, but it's like a lot of people can process it through like their primary is anger and rage and, you know, justification and that sort of thing. And I do want to say that it's like like, you're right that it's like every feeling is valid and every emotion is valid.
Because you're feeling it.
Yes. But I would say that it's like I have really like been intentional that like the first day I was like, I'm allowing myself to really like lean into like the ick. Like, so the first day, like I was like, okay.
You went full deep icky. Just
like, I mean, it's like I was like cleaning out my desk and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've given everything. And I was so angry because it's like I'm seeing like all these like papers and notes and like all of these things. So it's like it felt very heavy, and that it's like I was never going to get out of the pain that I was experiencing, which is a typical Enneagram 8 reaction or 7 reaction. But it was me putting time frames on my feelings. I only allow myself to feel a certain ick for a certain amount of time. And then I say, okay, it's time to move on. It's time to put your big girl pants on.
Wow.
And it's time to like move past that feeling. And it's like, I just had to keep on reminding myself that this is part of the processing, and that it's like, I'm not falling apart. I'm not losing myself. I'm not all the things that it's like I was like spiraling in, but it's like I'm processing.
How did you determine how much time? That's very unique to me.
It's more the depth of the feeling. So the heavier and the more ick the feeling, the longer I usually give. But it's like, if this is just like a surface like feeling that it's like, oh, I'm just angry right now, it's like, all right, you got like 15 minutes on this.
And you would say what this did is it allowed you it gave you the permission to feel the feel, but you were safeguarding that's not where you stayed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And maybe that's like how just like my personality like processes this, and it's like it allows me to feel like it's like I can feel the feel.
As a 7, and you were feeling it, and you gave yourself permission to feel it, it's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
It was icky.
Yeah, and I still it's like I'm always having to like allow myself to feel the feeling. So like that's why it's like I'm spewing on you all the time throughout this.
Yeah.
And hey,
I was just being funny.
I know, but people don't know that.
Oh no. I love every minute of it. That's our relationship. We do it.
But it's like I have those moments, and then it's like it feels better just to like vocalize them and get them out. Yep. And so like if you don't have like a supportive spouse or someone that's readily available, like get a journal, get the feelings out, because the more that we stuff and the more that we compartmentalize and just keep it in the box inside of ourselves, locked up and not exposed, the more it just like grows and festers, and then it affects so much of your life. And I think that's where I don't want this to be. This will always be a defining factor of my entire
Absolutely
life and of my story.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that the story is over. It just means that this was a close to that chapter. And I'm sad about that chapter.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because that chapter was very meaningful. And, you know, one thing that it is obvious, but it's important to point out is a job loss with one spouse does affect the relationship. Now, there's the impact to the family, sure, but it really does impact the spousal relationship in ways that it's important to recognize, because depending on a person's relationship with their spouse, your discomfort may make me uncomfortable. And if I am not one to lean into bringing comfort to you, I could then isolate, and it'll get better, and then just kind of go on my way. And maybe for some people that's okay, but it's important to realize that there is a lot to be done when you have a spouse that's gone through a difficult, traumatic, surprising moment. And I think how do you think that works? What do you think? What do you think there was one way that you saw that it impacted our relationship?
I mean, obviously, I saw immediately the stress fall onto our family because things change in a heartbeat like that. And so
we had to say no last night. My gosh. And it's so small. And these are the things, it's so small, but when you're used to something and then you now have to go responsibly, I can't say no to that.
Yeah, friends asked us to go celebrate their anniversary with them, and we can't afford to go out to dinner.
Yeah, we had to say no because we don't know what's next. Like,
yeah, and it's like, and that's.
Now, this is, again, I feel it's just first world problems. Totally understand that. We're just being open and vulnerable, and this is just, but those are decisions that have to be made. You have to say no, and for me, saying no to myself is difficult. But that is the real. Like you said. It changed immediately in our household.
Yeah. And I think that too, one of the things that it's like, as you were speaking, I want to also note is that the gender role, I think, is also different too, because me losing my job makes you as the man feel like you need to step up and like provide, fix it, all the things.
For the most part. Yeah.
But when it's also reversed, like if you were sitting here and you had lost your job, it's like now you as a man would feel, I'm just going to assume that you'd feel emasculated, and that it's like now I'm feeling like I need to comfort and help you.
Compensate
but it's
for
like,
that. Yeah.
Yes. And not be scared because I don't want you to sense my fear because it's like you're, the head of the household, So it's like there is a difference in the gender roles also that it's like I also wanted just to point out that it's like there is a difference on how.
In most cases.
Yeah.
In most cases.
And, or maybe it's just even the status of like who's the main breadwinner.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm grateful that you're the main breadwinner so that it's like.
Now I definitely am.
Now you definitely are.
It was a little wishy-washy there for a while.
It's true. But, I do just want to kind of give people hope that it may, like if you're in a situation and it feels like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do next? Or if you're in a situation that's like this and you don't have a supportive spouse, it's like, what do you do in that situation? It's like you're like when your identity is checked and you're kind of like floundering and you don't have that strong support. Like I'm literally just sitting here saying to you, if you're listening, to like reach out to like a friend, be vulnerable with them, share the ick, and it's okay to be vulnerable and be icky in those moments because everyone that's in your close circle can pick up the pieces and it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And, also like reach out to your church. Like we immediately reached out to our pastors and we're like, hey, I just lost my job. Like be praying. Like everyone out there needs to be like your biggest prayer warriors and your biggest support. And when your identity is shaken, you need to reach out to the people that can help restore that broken identity and be like, this isn't you. I don't know how many people have said, this is like so the furthest thing from who I know you are. And so it's like, that's helped me to be like, oh, it just
kind of refills
yes.
that the person that you are hearing. You just heard people that you looked up to that you've been with for several years tell you, we don't trust you. And now that, which is a huge hit to character, and now talking and reaching out to friends that love you, being filled back up, maybe not to the extent, but it's starting. That is a way to then start filling yourself. That's so important.
It's healing.
Now, I just want to speak to the spouse of, the one that got terminated, and this horrible thing happened, I just want to give you some pointers. And there's this idea of, just kind of spoke about it, is that every feeling is okay in the moment, and not rushing them through getting you to the place that you're fine with it now. Like, don't push them along. I understand that it's uncomfortable for the spouse. It's uncomfortable for me. Now, for some, it's not, because they're naturally compassionate, they're naturally caring, and they can just jump right into that empathetic role and really do a lot of great work. For a lot of people, though, not knowing what to do, they then start making decisions that they think is right, but really what they're doing is they're making it so that's more comfortable for them. Our encouragement is, don't rush them through. Just be along a way. There is something very powerful about presence without pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you're there with your spouse doesn't mean that you need to be talking, giving advice, encouraging. Now, those times will come, and the time is right when you're communicating with your spouse. But for the most part, it's just being there. Remember, silence is only uncomfortable to the one that isn't enjoying the silence. So usually the thing that happened, just being silent and just knowing that somebody's there, that's comfortable. The reason why it's uncomfortable for the spouse or the other person is just, I guess I need to do something. Don't worry about that yet. There will be time to, comfort your spouse, encourage your spouse to move on to the next thing or something like that. And it's also important to maybe capture the language or capture the essence of separating identity from employment. That just because they terminated you or let you go doesn't mean that it impugns your identity of who you are, especially coming from faith. If you're people of faith, what you understand is identity isn't in anything other than what God says it is. So it doesn't matter what people of earth either do, say, or anything. It has no effect on your identity. Your identity is solid in Jesus, and it just takes our human experience some time to actually believe that, right? We talked about this idea of the head to the heart, where many times we know what's true, but feeling what's true is so much different. And it takes a long time to actually start believing those things. And, as you support your spouse, you're alongside your spouse, and you're just being present with your spouse. It's also, you brought this up as well, is there may be times where you need to ask, do you want encouragement right now, or do you want solutions?
Mm-hmm.
Because I default, and I think many guys do in their guyness, not across the board, but you want to fix it. But I can say for certain, the reason why I want to fix it is because it's making me uncomfortable, and I want you to be okay and secure. And so there's a time and place for that, but communicating with your spouse, what do you need? And you were just saying that's actually some of the responsibility that you take on, is communicating to your spouse. So this is what I need. And it's taken us a long time to even get where you oftentimes don't need to say it, because we kind of know our own, our strengths and weaknesses. But I think really naming those things to the spouse to give them some tools to, this is how you can help your spouse in the midst of what they're going through. And if there's any doubt that you don't know, what do I do? Presence without pressure. Just be there with your spouse. You can process with your spouse, because there are some times where you may feel the need as the spouse to talk it through, but the one who was affected doesn't want to talk. So it's so important to make sure that you're communicating, kind of reading cues, like, don't worry about your discomfort. Just be concerned with being present with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, helping your spouse that has gone through this to look at things as positively as they can. So a lot of the times,
That's good.
you know, we look at, you know, something like this happening as, you know, a crisis, or like our life will never be the same. But we can also kind of look at a situation as a job loss, as my job could have been holding me back from opportunities. Like there were so many church events that it's like I would want to go to, but it was like at the end of the day, I was so exhausted because, you know, I was working extreme amounts of hours, and, you know, there wasn't a lot of energy or time left to give.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there was definitely limitations on our lives because of how much I was working. And
that was our choice, right?
It was totally our
like
choice.
We walked into that. We're like, yeah, we got this. No big deal. Like we had still have a good life. But even in the midst of that, when we were in it, it was just like, yeah, we work a lot because we work a lot. That's what we do.
We work a lot because we like the life that we live.
Yep.
And we also knew that came with some sacrifices.
And we chose that was a sacrifice.
And it was worth it.
Yeah.
But it was also limiting.
I would actually.
Well, no.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is it was worth it at the time.
There you go.
Yep. But it's like now in hindsight, I don't know that I would ever put myself back into that situation.
Same.
And I wouldn't put myself back into the situation of where my bosses had so much effect on my identity and who I was. And I was so eager to please them that it was at the detriment of myself, because I cared for them what felt more than they cared for me.
That's typical Heather Brown. And
that's the where I keep getting stuck and hung up, and that's okay. It's okay that I'm getting stuck in that moment, because I know that that's not going to be my forever story. That's not going to be where the story ends. It's already lessening with its power over me. And I do know that I'm going to take this pain and move it into purpose. And I'm going to get back more to who I actually am and who I'm meant to be, because we don't realize sometimes what God is doing in all of the moments. Because if I would have known that it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have given half of what I did give.
Yeah, same.
I gave for a purpose and for a reason, and I don't regret that. I regret that I gave them so much responsibility with that. That when it was taken away, that I today feel broken because of how much I gave to them. It was like I gave them parts of who I was that they weren't even asking for. And
that's brilliant.
That's on me.
Yeah.
That's not on them. And I still deeply love them. I still will pray for them. I hope that they have so much success and so much growth in my right-mindedness. Yeah. There's moments of where I'm like, I hope that the next person that takes my role takes and
terrible
and is horrible and unresponsive and doesn't do anything that they want. And it's like,
but in health,
but that's my flesh.
Yeah.
And I would never want pain or hurt for the company, because I truly do love them and I do love the mission, and you know, I will forever be. So I'm turning my pain into purpose, and I'm going to be moving forward into what fills me in who I am and who I'm made to be, because I'm made for more.
So this is, you naturally went into like this kind of landing segment, which was reframing what happened, but not minimizing what happened. So you are really taking something. I love the pain into purpose, right? We as faith anchored people understand that pain may not be caused by God, but he certainly doesn't waste it. And so he's there in it with you, and he uses it for your betterment, even though we don't like to admit it. pain is often the avenue that change comes from. And so for us, maybe because we've been down similar roads before, that we're getting there quicker. We're not that far from that moment, which I don't think we're certainly not kicking doors open. We're walking, and this is what we do. We walk through the doors that are open because that's how the Lord speaks. And so we do that. And so it's important to note, for if you have a spouse that is going through a similar season of loss, that there will come a time, and maybe you can encourage them, that there will come a time to begin reframing what happened, because it is interesting the clarity you get after you have some space from the moment. I know that we've talked about this before, is that our household is different. And yes, it's different because the income has been significantly reduced, but also the level of stress is gone, which has completely changed the household. And this close to the moment, we can actually look back and go, this is actually something that should have happened that we never would have done on our own because of the income, right?
And the people. We would have never left that.
Yeah,
company.
no, it's true.
I told them that they were gonna have
the
retirement party.
Yeah, 100%. So
maybe that's what scared them.
yeah. Geez, we're going to pay this long. No, but it's important to get to the point of reframing that what has happened to you does not define you.
Yeah.
What has happened to you, there can be positives. There can be, maybe this is a reset. Maybe this is a redirection. Maybe this is, maybe this was a misalignment. But the reality is growth in life often comes as a result of situations like this. And though I think we all know that, we never volunteer for that, hey, I want to really grow, so I'm going to experience pain. We don't do that. But what would you say, could you, other than turning your pain into purpose, is there any other reframe that you would say from, we're really still really close to it, but would you say there's anything else?
Because of the context of the situation, it was so sudden and so immediate that I so quickly realized that if this was happening, God had to be in it.
Yeah.
And if God was in it, then he was also going to be in the next thing.
Yeah, that's great.
And I didn't want this to ever happen. I would have never chosen it. I would have never volunteered for it. Yep. I would have given my whole entire life to that company. And I think that that's why God allowed it to happen, because I was giving too much of myself.
Wow, that's great insight.
And so I think that in hindsight, you can always see, the purpose. Right now it's still raw and it still hurts. But I'm so grateful for you and for the people that have been around me to help me walk through this. I have a couple really great friends that have been so solid, and, I don't know that I could have done all of it without my faith, without you, and without my little mini posse. And it's like those things are so important, and communication above all in this whole situation was so important, so valuable. So, I think that we're going to be okay. I think our lives will forever look different.
We will be okay.
Whatever the circumstances are. Yes.
Whatever, yeah.
Exactly. But, this will forever mark a moment in our lives. And I'm grateful that we have each other.
situations like this can often feel like the ground is shifting beneath us. But and this is encouragement to all marriages out there, it doesn't have to shake the foundation of your marriage. In fact, there is an opportunity that you can come even closer together. It can strengthen. It can strengthen your marriage because of the opportunity to be in raw, real places and show up for each other and meet each other in those gaps in a deeper and more meaningful way. So there is encouragement in it. And this is not in any way to minimize the reality of the pain that occurs when a loss like this happens of any magnitude. Mm-hmm. It's not to demean that or minimize it, but it's just to encourage that continue through that process, continue in feeling, processing. One thing you never want to do is isolate. Don't isolate yourself. Connect with your cheerleaders that are in your life and just keep going because you were made for more. I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's true. And you are incredibly resilient in the midst of this. And you've learned, we're learning so much from this. And I'm glad that we got to come and speak to our listeners about, because that's the reality, right? People have pain, and it's you can learn from someone else's pain so that when you are confronted with pain or a position that it's tragic, you can then hearken back to those things that you heard and try to leverage what worked for somebody else. And so I think that is so important. And I'm glad, I'm sorry that we had to, but I'm glad that we got to have this episode because it's important.
Yeah.
And it's real.
And I do want to just encourage anyone that it's like, if you're dealing with like a loss or a sudden, rug pulled out from underneath you, reach out to us. We would love to pray for you.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Like, honestly, like it is my honor and my privilege to walk alongside of people that are walking through hurtful situations. And I would love to pray for you. So definitely reach out to us on Instagram or, wherever, like comment, whatever. But definitely reach out to us, because I would love to pray for you and be, just a little bit of a like a little ray of hope in the midst of like the craziness, because honestly, my faith has gotten me through those dark times, because I'm so anchored in truth, because I know truth. So when I hear a lie, I can quickly recognize that it's a lie, because it's not what I've always known. And so,
that's great, honey.
I'm so grateful for you, for our kids, for our family. And I can't imagine going through this without my faith and my family and just my solid people. So thank you.
Well, friends, if you made it this far, we thank you. And thanks for going on the journey of this particular part of our marriage, and hoping that if something similar happens to you and your marriage, that you'll be encouraged that you will get through it. Absolutely, you'll get through it. And by God's grace, you'll be better for it. See you next time.